We spent a week exploring Zurich and Lucerne in Switzerland, and then took a train ride through the Alps over to Innsbruck, Austria.
In this video, we'll highlight 7 fun things we recommend you do if you're visiting Zurich.
Be sure to subscribe to follow along with this 4-part series. Number 1. Explore the Viadukt arches. This railway viaduct was built in 1894 and is still an active railroad. There are 36 shops, galleries, and restaurants tucked into the arches and footpath above.
Next to the viaduct itself is a beautiful park with a cafe and playground. We grabbed a drink at the cafe to people watch until it was time for dinner.
We had reservations at Restaurant Viadukt, where we sat outside to eat under the arches. This restaurant has such a cozy atmosphere and the food was delicious.
Number 2, spend an evening at Frau Gerolds' Garten. This is a really unique outdoor space with an industrial chic vibe. There's many different food and drink vendors, even an ice cream parlor, plus tons of areas to sit and hang out.
The garden overlooks the Zurich Hardbrücke station and is excellent for train spotting. We actually came back here on 2 different nights as we enjoyed it so much, and it was a really short walk from our hotel.
Number 3, visit the Lindt home of chocolate in Kilchberg.
We took a 5-minute train ride from the Zurich main station down to Kilchberg, where the Lindt Chocolate Museum is located. The walk from the train station was very scenic. We chose to walk along the waterfront since we had some time to spare, but there is a more direct path straight from the station as well.
The inside is absolutely gorgeous with a giant chocolate whisk towering in the middle of the lobby. We picked up our audio guides and commenced our tour. There's a ton of exhibits throughout, giving not only the overall history of chocolate, but also specifically Swiss chocolate.
The main attraction was of course the chocolate room. They had these fountains where you can try dark, milk, and white chocolate. They also had a few interactive games you could play, and a station where you had to guess the chocolate you were eating based on the characteristics listed. We had a lot of fun in there and ate way too much chocolate.
Oh, but we weren't done. We also got to pick out our very own Lindt truffles to take home from the massive variety they had on display. At the very end of the tour, you can scan your ticket to activate this fun little chocolate dispenser in case somehow you hadn't gotten your fill yet.
Before we left, we stopped at the shop to load up on some goodies to take home. One pro tip, Lindt offers classes like making your own chocolate, but unfortunately everything was sold out by the time we booked. So, if you're planning further ahead than we usually do, make sure to lock that down. Number 4. Cruise Lake Zurich. Instead of taking the train again, we opted instead to hop on a short ferry boat cruise back to the Zurich city center. We were visiting in September, so the boats were fairly frequent.
There's a little cafe at the dock to hang out while you wait. The boat is included with the Zurich Transit Pass, but just make sure that you have all the right zones selected. The trip took about 25 minutes to get back into the city center, and the views on the lake were absolutely stunning.
Number 5. Grab sausages and beer at the Pumpstation. After the boat cruise, we walked over to the Pumpstation, an open-air restaurant near the Zurich Opera House with a great view of the lake. This restaurant is located at a former pump station for the old waterworks, hence the name.
We got a couple of different sausages and fries to share, which came with delicious crusty bread, and their drinks menu is quite extensive. Highly recommend this great spot for an easy meal.
Number 6. Explore the city center. Our original plan was to walk up along the west bank of the river to the central Polybahn, a small historic funicular which takes you to a terrace with amazing city views. Unfortunately, it was closed for repairs, but we still enjoyed our walk.
On the east bank, we walked up toward the Lindenhof, a lovely shaded plaza which also has great city views. The plaza is on the site of a historic Roman fort and was not too crowded.
We hung out here for a while, then filled up our water bottles to continue our exploration. The Church of St. Peter is nearby, which features a gorgeous clock on its tower. We wandered through some very scenic streets, including the Augustinergasse, which is filled with flags, shops, outdoor dining, and colorful architecture.
We walked by a place called Zeughauskeller, which turned out to be a popular historic restaurant. We stopped in for a drink before continuing our walk. If you want to actually dine here, definitely make a reservation.
And finally, we had to go check out the Bahnhofstrasse, which is Zurich's main high-end shopping street. Be careful not to get run over by a tram.
And number 7, visit the Nest. For our last night in Zurich, our goal was to snag a table at the Nest, which is located on the rooftop of the Hotel Storken, but does not take reservations.
After a short wait in line, we finally headed up the elevator to emerge onto the roof, which has incredible views of Zurich city center and the river Limache.
The menu is Mediterranean, with lots of plates intended for sharing. We had a great time watching as the bright sky settled into twilight.
And that wraps up our adventure in Zurich. As always, thanks for watching, and subscribe to follow along for part 2, where we spend a full day in Lucerne.